Jai Shri Krishna, Narayan, Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. We start with stanza 56, anirviṇṇa sadamarshi lokadishthānamatbhutam. So, name number 436, anirviṇṇa. He is never despondent. Bhagavan Bhaskar gives the interpretation that he is never despondent because he gets always what he wills. So, apta kamatvat nirvedaha asya na vidyate iti anirviṇṇa. He is free from depression because he has achieved all his goals. He is self-satisfied. Nirviṇṇa is frustration or depression when it comes to someone who is unable to fulfill what he sets out to achieve. Obviously, this is not the case with Sri Hari, who is Siddha Sankalp. He achieves what he wills. So he is called Anirviṇṇa, the ever-satisfied one. The term Anirvedaha is also used to explain this, one who is not despondent or in despair. Earlier we have seen Bhagavan also been called Mahotsaha in Shlok 18, name 173, which denotes his indefatigable and enthusiastic spirit. Name number 437, sthaviṣṭha. He is immense. Bhagavan Bhashyakar explains this name as Vairaja Rupena Sthita Sthaviṣṭha. He is manifested in his mammoth cosmic form or the Vishwarup. Though it is his underlying form, he reveals it only to a select few and at select times. The Mundaka Upanishad 4 says Agnir Murdha, Chakshushi, Chandra Surya, and so on, meaning the fire is his head, the sun and moon are his eyes, the dimensions of the space his ears, his speech emitted the Vedas, the air is his breath, all existence his heart. From his feet emerged the earth. He is verily the inner consciousness of all beings, therefore he is immense. It is also, this name is also explained as Sthulyat Sthaviṣṭha. Sthul means large or immense or huge. So this is also referring to a huge grouping of stars, which is the Shishumara in the Vishnu Puran 291 or even in the Srimad Bhagavat, where the form of the mighty Sri Hari, which is present in heaven, consisting of the constellations like a porpoise with Dhruv, the North Star, situated at the tail end. In 2.124 to 2.138, this constellation is described in the Srimad Bhagavat that describes the planetary system in form of the Shishumara, starting with a certain set of stars, Visheshas Tasya Dehoyam, and so on. So, the humongous among the joints as sthaviṣṭha vapushi, meaning he is huge in this form, covering the skies, hence sthaviṣṭha. Name number 438, Bhū, the all-supporter. Bhū means earth. Bhū-bhav means to be. He who exists without any support. He who is. Thus one interpretation is that he refers to the one who exists unlike all other beings all the time, which have a temporary existence in bodily form. And Bhagavan Bhashyakar interprets this in two ways, abhūha and bhū. He explains abhū as ajanma abhū, one who is never born. Bhū is explained in ways, bhavati iti bhūva mahiva. So he exists because he is bhū, or he symbolizes the earth, hence he is bhū. Name number 439, dharmayūpa. He is united with dharma, meaning to join. Yupa means to join, ru mishrane, meaning to join, and yupa refers to the post to which animal is tied during the course of a sacrifice, and here it refers to Sri Bhagavan being the exemplar for all dharmas, meaning dharma is supported and held in place by him. He is the yardstick or the reference point for dharma, and Bhagavan Bhashyakar interprets this as yupa pashuvat tat samara dhanatmakaha dharma tatra badhyante eti dharmayūpaha. He is the peg to which all dharma is tied. 440, mahāmakha. He is the goal for the greatest sacrifices, and Bhagavan Bhashyakar is interpreting this as that the sacrifices that are offered to him are great, since they give liberation or moksha, and the greatest possible outcome to the performer. Hence, he is called mahāmakha. Yasmin arpataha makaha yajñaha nirvana lakshana phalam. Nirvana lakshana phalam. The greatest gift, that is liberation. And therefore, mahāmakha. Bhagwan is yajna swarup also. So this can be best understood that the yajña, when it completely gives the desired result, is successful. Now, makaha just refers to yajña or sacrifice or sacrificial oblations. And so, Sri Hari is mahāmakha since he bestows the ultimate benediction of moksha in response to this yajña. 441, nakṣatranemi. Bhagwan Bhashyakar gives an elaborate and a vivid interpretation of this name, but essentially, he who is the hub of the skies in which the stars are, or he who makes the stars move, sa jyotisham chakram brahmayan taramayasya shishumarasya puchhe deshe vyavasthitah dhruva tasya shishumarasya hridaye jyotish chakrasya nemivat pravartakah stitha Vishnu riti, and so on. It just goes on. The Dhruv star regulates the movement of the star cluster called Shishumar, and the chakra remains stationed at its tail end. So, at the heart of that system, Sri Hari resides as if he is the nemi or the hub of the wheel of the stars, and hence he is called nakṣatranemi. Now, there are a couple of references in support of this interpretation. The first one is nakṣatra tarakai sardham chandras suryadayo graha vayu and so on, meaning the stars moving and fixed, the sun and moon, they are all bound to Dhruv by the bonds of Vayu. Vayu pasha mahe bandhe. So meaning they are all bound to the Dhruv star or the North Star by the bonds of Vayu. The second one is from Swadhyaya Brahman, which says, while describing Shishumara Chakram, Vishnu Hridayam, Vishnu is stationed at the heart of the Shishumara Chakram, hence nakṣatranemi. There are alternative meanings which give the derivation for nakshatra as nakṣarati shiyate va, which is nemi is described from the root word ni, meaning to lead or to carry, and so therefore he is the leader of the sun, moon, and carries them with his centripetal force. The next name is nakṣatrī, he who also has the stars. We've already seen this earlier, but Bhagwan Bhashyakar interprets this as Chandrarupena nakṣatrī. He's called nakṣatrī because he's the form of the moon. In the Bhagavad Gita 10:21, Bhagwan says, nakṣatranam aham shashi, I'm the moon among the stars. So, the one who has the kshetra is called kshetri, and the one who has the nakṣatra is called nakṣatrī. Simple enough. 443, kṣama. We have seen this earlier in the meaning dakshina and as one who's proficient. So the name has two meanings. One who's skilled or proficient or competent or an expert. But here, kṣama refers to great patience and someone who easily forgives everyone for their misdeeds when they are truly remorseful. So Bhagwan Bhashyakar gives two interpretations. The first is, Sarvakaryeshu samartha kṣama. He is skillful in every activity. We saw this earlier in Daksha and Vishwadakshinaha. The second interpretation is Shamate iti shamaha, which is he forgives everybody for their misdeeds. As also in the Valmiki Ramayana, it is said, Shamaya prithvi samaha, he is tolerant like the earth itself. Hence, he has the great quality of forgiveness. 443. 444, Shamaha, he is eternal. The root word from this name is derived from shau, kshay, meaning to waste. Now, this name is explained by pointing out that Sri Hari stands diminished at the time of the dissolution of the five elements. There are quotes in the Vishnu Puran 2.8.92, which mean all the luminaries up to Dhruv disappear and Dhruv alone remains shining in his place. Bhagwan Bhashyakar explains this as sarva vikareshu shapiteshu swatmanaha avasthitaha, meaning after all his creations or manifestations have ceased to exist during pralaya, he alone remains as himself, and in other words, he is the final remainder, residue after all eliminations have taken place. So, Kṣāma, he is eternal. Samīhana, which is he is the well-wisher, the benefactor for all beings. Again, this name has two meanings. One who establishes all others. We have seen this is vyavasthana. But well-wisher, meaning he who works towards the welfare of his creation. We have seen this in the Bhagavad Gita as well. Samīhayati iti samīhanaha. Bhagavan Bhashyakar interprets this as Shrishti yadyartham samyak ehate iti samīhanaha. He earnestly engages in the creation and other activities relating to the universe. Hence, he is called samīhanaha. So, he is the well-wisher for this creation. Shrityadi artham samyagihataha iti samīhanaha. The next stanza is yajña, ijyo, mahejya, kratu, satraṃ, satāṃ, gati, sarvadarśī, nivritātmā, vimuktātmā, sarvajño, jñānamuttamam. Stanza 48. Name number 446, yajña, sacrifice. We will see this come up a lot of times even later towards the end of the Vishnu Shastranam. Bhagavan Bhashyakar in this instance gives two explanations for the name. The first is sarvajña swarupada yajña. He is the embodiment of all forms of yajña, whether it is dravya yajña, which is sacrifice of wealth, tapo yajña, penance, yoga yajña, yoga practice, jnana yajña, propagation of knowledge. He is the ultimate yajña. The second explanation is sarvesham devanam tushtikaraha yajnakarena pravartate iti va. He pleases and nurtures all the devas with his sacrificial offerings, which is his very nature, thus causing satisfaction and happiness. So he is called yajña. Taittiriya Samhita 174 also says yajño vai Vishnu. Vishnu and yajña are one and the same. They are identical. Now we will cover all aspects of yajña in Shlok 104, where Bhagavan is involved in all yajno, yajnapatir, yajva, yajñango, yajnavahana, yajnabhrit, yajnakrit, yajni, yajnabhug, yajnasadhana, yajnantakrit, yajnaguhyam, and so on. So we'll talk about that later as well. But yajña is always done with a spirit of selflessness, and karma binds us to the fruits resulting from our actions, while yajña releases us from the bondage of karma, as referred to in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verses 25 to 30, where various yajñas, including Deva, Brahma, Indriya, Mano, Atma, Sayam, Dravya, Tapo, etc., are talked about. Various prana yajña, deha yajña, and all of that. So, since each one of Bhagavan's acts are for the benefits of his devotees and not for his own benefit, he is the incarnation of yajña. And this is also seen in the Srimad Bhagavat, in the Yajña avatar of Bhagavan. 447, ijyo. He is the object of reverence. Bhagavan Bhashyakar interprets this as yashtavya api ayamave iti ijyaha. He is fit to be the target of all worship and sacrificial offerings. So he is ijya, Pujya. He quotes the Harivams Puran to support the interpretation, which says, holy sacrifices to divinities and forefathers are verily the adoration of Vishnu himself, who is the self of all. Ijyam arhati iti ijya. Those who worship Anya Devatas seeking temporary benefits in reality worship Vishnu only, who is the Antaryami or the inner soul of all beings. This is also revealed in the Bhagavad Gita 9:23. Ye tu anya devata bhakte yajante shraddhaya anvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajanti a vidhi purvakam, which is whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without proper understanding. This is also referred to in the Mahabharata, in the Shanti Parv 355-24, with the same meaning, so I won't repeat it. Name number 448, mahejya. Again, ijya and mahejya, the best among the objects of worship, and Bhagavan Bhashyakar interprets this as sarvasu devatasu yashtavyasu prakarshena yashtavya moksha phala datrutvat iti mahejya. There may be other gods fit to be worshipped, but Bhagavan is the greatest of them all, since he is the only one who is able to give the gift of salvation or liberation or moksha as the outcome of yajña, and hence mahejya. Name number 449, kratu. He is the object of worship and he is the force behind all actions. This name has two meanings. The objects of worship through the sacrifices are called kratus. And he who is behind the actions of everyone, when anything is done, is also kratu. Bhagwan Bhashyakar's interpretation is yupa sahita yajña kratu, meaning the yajña with the pillar for tying the sacrificial offer is kratu. This is seen in short yajñas versus the smarth, where such balis are offered. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:16, Bhagwan talks about aham kratu, aham yajña, and so on. I am the ritual, I am the sacrifice, I am the offering. So there are different types of yajñas. Kratu is one where one uses one's resources to perform a yajña with a definite objective to be completed within a prescribed duration. There are further panch mahayajñas: Brahma yajña, Pitru yajña, Deva yajña, Bhuta yajña, and Manusha yajña, meaning reciting the Vedas, offering of libations to the water of the deceased ancestors daily, a sacrifice made to the god through oblations of fire, offering a portion of the daily meal to all creatures, and sacrifice offered to other people in terms of hospitable reception of guests, etc. These Pancha-mahayajñas is what all of us grahasts or householders deal with on a daily basis, or should at least. Name number 450, Satram. He protects the pious and the righteous. Now this name has three meanings. He who is worshipped by the sacrifice is called Satra, or he who protects is also Satra. Now, Bhagwan Bhashyakar gives two simple explanations for this. He says, in the first instance, he accumulates dharma in an appropriate way, hence he is Satram. In the second meaning, he says, is he protects the virtuous people, hence he is Satram. Sataha trayate iti Satra. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 8, Bhagwan talks about vinashaya cha dushkritam, for the protection of the virtuous, I incarnate myself, so Satram. There are also references, obviously, in the Srimad Bhagavat to Dirgha Satras that is being conducted, which is with relation to time and place. But normally, a yajña of a prescribed duration, which is longer and done for Vishwa Kalyan or the benefit of the world at large, is Satra. 451, satāṃ gatihi, the goal of the pious. Bhagwan Bhashyakar interprets this as satāṃ mumukshunam na anya gatiriti satāṃ gatihi. He is the only resort of seekers of salvation, hence he is called satāṃ gatihi. So the only way to moksha is the absolute and unconditional surrender to Bhagwan. Hence, satāṃ gatihi is the ultimate goal. Sarvadarśī, 452, the all-seer. Sarvadarśī, one who sees everything, simple to understand. Bhagwan Bhashyakar explains this as sarvesham praninam krita kritam sarva pashyati swabhavikena bodhena iti sarvadarśī, meaning he who is able to see through the actions meaning all omissions and commissions of all beings with natural power, hence he is called sarvadarśī. Sakshi, sarvadarśī, omniscient, omnipresent. He's always watching. So one who by his innate sight is able to see all actions, since he is the antaryami. In the Bhagavad Gita 13:14, Bhagavan says, sarvatah pani padam tat sarvatok shishiro mukham sarvatah shrutim, and so on. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes and face, and he hears everything, and that reality exists pervading everything in this world. Hence sarvadarśī. 453, vimuktātmā. He is naturally liberated. Again, the name specifically means one whose mind is turned away from worldly desires or who follows the nivritti marg. Well, Bhagwan Bhashyakar treats this name as vimuktātmā, interprets this as swabhavena vimukta atma yasya iti, meaning by his very nature he is a liberated entity and hence he is vimuktātmā. Alternatively, he is both liberated and he is the supreme soul, hence vimuktātmā. The Kathopanishad 251 says, vimuktascha vimuchyate, he is liberated and he also liberates us. Sarvajña, 454, the omniscient. Bhagwan Bhashyakar interprets this as sarvascha asau jnanascha iti sarvajña Sarvajñānaha, he is everything and he is the knower of everything, hence he is called sarvajña. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 2.4.6 says, Idam sarvam yadayam atma, everything here is the Paramatma. He is the antaryami, he is sarvajña, he knows everything, he is the best goal. Ya sarvajña sarvavit, the all-knower, aware of all, in the Mundaka Upanishad 1.9. O sa sarvajña sarvo bhavati, Prashna Upanishad 10, which is he is omniscient and he becomes all. Esha sarveshvara, esha sarvajña, esha antaryameshva, yoni sarvasya, and so on. This is the Lord of all, the knower of all, the inner controller, the source of all, the beginning and end of all beings. Mandukya Upanishad 6. The next name is jñānamuttamam. He is the greatest knowledge. Bhagavan Bhashyakar explains this as jñānamuttamam iti etat saviṣṭhāshanam ekam namaha, which is to say, he is the wisdom of the highest class, being without a beginning, unlimited and capable of achieving everything. Hence he is called jñānamuttamam. The Taittiriya Upanishad 2.1 says Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahma is truth, Brahma is wisdom, and Brahma is eternal. So Bhagwan is Jnanamuttamam. As he is omniscient and the cause of all causes, we will end the translation for today. Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.